What's up, Lego Builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios. Recently, I've been feeling like I'm crawling through a desert in desperate need of a drink, and there's only one thing that can quench my thirst: a sequel mock. I'm just kidding, of course not. I need a good old-fashioned Clone Wars mock challenge. I've been branching out, trying new types of videos, but it's time to come home. So in this video, I'm gonna build 3 Clone Wars mocks in 3 days, all around 1 Legion Plos Bros. So if you're ready for some frothy, fresh Clone Wars content, don't forget to execute Order 66 on that like button, and let's get started. As many of you know, I'm currently building a massive Battle of Megiddo mock, which has eaten up most of my parts. So one of the biggest challenges of this video is actually going to be utilizing the parts that are left over to build something that doesn't look like this. I still have a pretty extensive parts collection with some cool pieces to play around with, so let's start in the jungle. There's this mock base left over from a Chrome Naboo Starship challenge I did last week that'll come in handy as well. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it at the top of the video. I'm going to start with some good old crumbly pillars. I saw a really cool Lego Roman Aqueduct mock today, which inspired me to build some kind of old ruins or bridge, and I decided upon the crumbling remains of a temple on Yavin 4. To make these look even more decayed, I'm stacking 1x1 and rounded 1x2 plates together and adding them into the build to create gaps and small crevices, as well as adding in some masonry brick and cheese slopes to give these as much texture as possible. I got lucky because I always have tons of dark tan sitting around, and the structures on Yavin 4 happen to be mostly that same color. I built 3 and each one has half arches built into the sides so that they can all become connected when they're next to each other. Outdoor terrain ruins are my favorite type of thing to build, and there's just so much opportunity for detail and fun techniques, and the colors are a lot more vibrant than what I normally get to work with. In one corner of the mock, there'll be a patch of dark tan tile, but don't worry, this isn't a classic coconut tan pancake. It's just a highlight color, since every time I build with reddish brown, it breaks. So I've started using dark tan for terrain instead. Now I get to work with probably my favorite color, and one I don't get to use nearly enough: green. It's so vibrant and full of life. It makes me feel like I'm in a jungle when I'm building with it. Next, in go mounds of green wedge plate to further break up the terrain and give me some much needed topography. Let me know in the comments what your favorite color to build with is. The base of the build is done, and I like to think of it as a canvas, and now it's time to paint. Because Yavin 4 is a jungle, I need some trees. I'm trying something bold here and using 2x2 ball joints to create twisted, flexible tree trunk. I've struggled with building trees since before gunships ran in gangs, especially the trunks. But I was walking in the woods the other day and saw a lot of the trees were gray. I almost felt like I had to build with reddish brown, but now I'm open to new colors and parts. I also saw someone build a tree with the smaller ball joints, and I thought, why not try out the big ones? I want to have chunks of the temple that fell off buried in the foliage to further sell the old ruins vibe, and nothing makes a place feel old like vines. The headlight bricks make perfect spots for placing vines, and I wanted to have at least one big one spanning a couple of pillars to make it feel like the whole structure is slowly being swallowed by one big entity. I added some red and pink flowers as highlights to pop against the green backdrop. I should have done all the vine placing before the trees though, because they make it really hard to get to that last pillar and add some greenery. I want the pillars to look like they were holding something up at one time, so I'm going to build some kind of stone slab with designs running across the top. This is one reason why I like building ruins so much. You don't have to worry about symmetry or creating a complete structure. You can build it as messy or incomplete as you want, and it still turns out great. This is going to be the edge of a separatist camp, so no walls or anything, just some sandbags and distracted guards. And no Star Wars mock is complete without random crates. Lost in the arid jungles of Yavin 4, a separatist convoy is set up camp near the ruins of an ancient temple. Unfortunately, this is a prime spot for a Republic ambush, and none better for the job than the fearsome 104th Wolfpack Battalion. Man, I like this mock way too much. I got overwhelmed while filming the cinematic footage because there are just so many cool details and shots I wanted to capture and show you guys. Especially with those pillars. They're blocky and simple, but man are they cool to look at. They aren't doing a great job of hiding this guy, however, but I mean, it is the droids they're sneaking up on, and we all know how observant they are. The trees turned out really good as well. I do want to tweak the design a little, but I think I'm onto something big with this technique. I really like how I can create different shaped trunks while using the same pieces. Things aren't looking too good for the Seps, however, since instead of watching for enemies, this B1 got into a shoving match with a super battle droid. In round 2, it's time to kick things up a notch and bust out a big old gray base plate for a clone base. I'm sure you guys knew this was coming at some point, because with how limited my options are, I need to pull out the dark tan slopes and build some rock work. Luckily, it's just 2 little walls on either side of the base, which is just tall enough for a minifig to walk through. It's probably going to end up more like a bunker than an actual base. To try and make this structure look as cool as possible, because I don't have much gray brick at the moment, I'm going to build the entire front of the bunker out of slopes and plate, creating the facade of a front wall. I'm thinking maybe some high security communications bunker or weapon storage, so I don't want any windows or extra access points to weaken the bunker, and it'll be built into the hill, which can act as a natural defense on the sides, back, and top. Because the roof is at the same level as the terrain on the upper half of the mock, I wanted to turn it into a landing pad pad, although as I'm writing this script I just realized I built a bunker with only one entrance and a landing pad up above it with no way to get down to the door. I'm about to do some serious plating and tiling, which you probably don't want to sit through silently, so let's talk about Wolfpack for a bit. Led by Jedi Master Plo Koon and Commander Wolf, they are without a doubt the most underrated and underappreciated battalion in the Republic. Both commanders are level-headed but willing to roll up their sleeves and get dirty when needed, and no one has a cooler nickname than them. Plo's Bros? I mean, come on, it's not even close. Ryloth is home to stunted, gnarled trees, and I really like the ball joint trees from earlier, so I'm going to reuse that design but swap in olive green foliage. I'm placing them around the bunker to make it look even more secretive and hard to find. I know I'm building a desert, but this still looks too barren and empty, so I'm going to add little patches of olive green moss with plants on top. Ryloth might not be the green tropical jewel that is Kashyyyk, but it's no Tatooine either, so I'm going to add a decent amount of plant life even up around the landing platform. I like working with dark tan and olive green a lot, and in my opinion they're one of the best color combos available. At last it's time for the minifigs, and this time the droids are returning the favor after Yavin 4 and doing a little sneaking around of their own. But this base is no easy target as a fresh squad of troops just got dropped off on the bunker via gunship. Separatist spies have stolen the coordinates to a number of secret bases on Ryloth and are launching a surprise attack on a particularly remote one. Trusting in its location and natural defenses, the Republic didn't have much manpower on hand, but luckily, a gunship was touching down to refuel on its way off-world when the Seps sprung the trap. I've always struggled with base or bunker builds. It's hard to build a simple military structure without making it look boring or blocky, but I think angling the wall in front of the gray slopes made the bunker feel more realistic and more detailed instead of just being a flat, straight wall with no variation. I think these ball joint trunks are too big and bulky, however. Next time I do a Ryloth mock, I'll use the smaller ones to create a more slender looking tree. The droids have a pretty sweet setup here, and it's not looking good for that Wolfpack gunship, even though it is being piloted by the best pilot LEGO's ever made. Oh, come on! I am really excited for this last mock because I've got a really cool idea I want to test out. But first, I need to build a green, grassy field in an undisclosed Star Wars planet that I've definitely never built before. I knew I needed to get real creative with this last one, so I'm building a temporary repair bay for Republic vehicles. I've got a layout for how big it's going to be, and now I just need to plate that section off. I'm using these headlight bricks to start the walls, and I'm once again going the plate route. But not just because my gray brick supplies look like Disney's bank account after the sequels. Plate walls provide lots of opportunity for extra detailing, from the texture of the tile edges to studs I can place on the wall to attach other bits of greeble. I'm going to build a bunch of smaller panels with vents and lights on them, which can be attached to the aforementioned studs on the walls. Now, instead of a bunch of flat, empty brick built walls, I have these much more detailed and realistic looking ones. And when it comes to military builds, I've learned that the cool factor in realism doesn't always come from fancy architecture and techniques or bright colors, but greebling. Pipes, vents, dials, and knobs are the lifeblood of any good military structure. Towards the back, I want a little section of computers and screens where the clones can gather and do the classic pre and post mission briefings, or if they need to blow off some steam, play some video games. This repair bay is only for smaller stuff like Republic fighter tanks and AT-RTs. The floors are also getting the tile treatment. I'm designing one side for working on vehicles and the other for troops, and making sure to add yellow lines marking everything out so we don't have any workplace accidents. Let me know in the comments what types of things you would include in a repair bay like this. Up until now, you might be thinking nothing I've built so far has been that creative or new, but buckle up, things are about to get wild. I'm now using ball joints for the third time in a row, which was unintentional but made me pretty proud of myself, since branching out to new parts in the collection was one of the goals of this challenge. I want to build a curved roof for the repair bay similar to an airplane hangar. I saw someone build something similar a while ago, and ever since I've been itching to see how I could build something like that. Plus, I've got lots of 6x6 tiles laying around as well, so if this works out, I just opened up a new way to build big bases really easily. Now all I need to do is add finishing touches like an entry ramp and a generator outside with pipes and wires to power everything. I guess I can't just leave this on a green slab, so I'll need to add a little dusting of grass. Not too much, mind you, since I don't want the clones slogging through waist-high grass to get to their gaming session after a long day of spreading democracy. I also need to keep the front of the base clear so walkers can see the step up in and avoid tripping in or out of the bay. There's a Republic fighter tank being worked on. I also saved my Commander Wolf and Plo Koon minifigs for this last build. On the planet of Jedi Master Plo Koon and Commander Wolf are having a post-battle briefing session, having successfully routed the droid forces. These new forwarding operating bases / repair bays have been a key component in the recent Republic success, as they offer a quicker turnaround time on damaged vehicles and help keep the officers and other ranking leaders up to date and more connected to enemy movements and how the overall campaign is going. I couldn't be happier. Not only did I produce a great mock, but I made a big breakthrough in how to design and build bases. The curved roof is a fresh new shape that I haven't used before, using pieces I have in ample supply, and plan has already got me thinking about exciting future projects. There are gaps between the tiles, but they can be easily filled in with these 1x2 modified plates. I just didn't have enough to fill everything in. This was not the video I was expecting it to be. I was hoping for a fun little challenge to help get my channel back on track, but I feel like I got so much more. Building that Yavin 4 MOC made me realize I want to return to building more outdoor terrain MOCs. And what more can I say about that awesome repair bay, which has opened up some awesome possibilities in the future. Things are looking up, and I'm really excited for Megito to finish so I can start a new wave of challenges and content for you guys. Let me know in the comments which of these builds was your favorite, as well as what Clone Legion I should focus on next if I do another one of these, and I will catch you next time. But until then, happy building.